Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be unboxing a large lot of HO scale locomotives I found on eBay. I found this lot all the way back in 2022, and it really caught my eye at the time because there appeared to be a whole bunch of different F40Ph locomotives in it, including some locomotives from Lifelike I've been collecting and don't currently have, as well as some tri-rail locomotives from Florida I've always wanted to add to the collection. I don't know what kind of condition these engines are in, but let's get them out of the box and see exactly what they all look like. So the first locomotive we have appears to be a Burlington unit. And it's a GP something or another. I think that this one is made by either Proto 1000 or 2000. It looks to be in okay shape. There's definitely a lot of cosmetic damage for the handrails right here. I think we might be missing some components down here. Looks like something's been ripped off there. And the couplers leave some to be desired, but other than that, it doesn't look too bad. And this locomotive looks to be in absolutely terrible condition. I think that this was kit bashed. It looks like a Lifelike chassis, which somebody split to shorten it. And you can see that the trucks are completely loose. This actually seems to be some kind of a dummy unit. Yeah, I have no idea what somebody's tried to do here, but it doesn't look like it's worked out too well. So that's certainly going to need some love. And then we've got a matching B unit, although this one is actually made by Walters and ironically is actually powered, so I don't know if the intention was to try to push this rig along with it, but either way I think that there's definitely some potential here if we can remove all the hot glue and other modifications that have been done to this engine. And here is a Southern locomotive. It appears to be made by Model Power, which is a decent make. I think this one is all-wheel drive, and overall it doesn't look to be in too poor of a condition. We are missing some handrails here and there, but we do have a front and rear coupler, so that's all good. The horns are intact, so overall I think that this looks like a pretty decent model. It looks like somebody took a couple of Union Pacific F40Ph locomotives from Lifelike and kind of modified them into some kind of B unit. Unfortunately, this locomotive does not appear to be in great shape, but it is a powered model of some kind. Can't say I've really ever seen anything quite like it. It's kind of cursed, but it'll be interesting to see if that runs or not. Now here appears to be one of the locomotives which seem to be in slightly better condition. Just as I had hoped, this is a Walters locomotive. Unfortunately, the plow and everything else on the front is gone. We are missing the rear handrails, but the rest of the drive does seem to be intact, and these Walters engines tend to be pretty good in terms of starting up after sitting, so hopefully we've got a runner on our hands here. And this appears to be quite a common Lifelike locomotive. Just your typical Amtrak F40Ph. It looks like somebody might have modified this locomotive because it's got Bachmann wheels on it, and I think that they might have painted the trucks as well. This definitely does not look factory right here. Some marking there, the horns are gone. We're missing a coupler, but it's not locked up. This appears to be another custom locomotive, and I don't know what the heck someone tried to do here, but I might end up just salvaging the drive out of this one, honestly. I don't really know if it's worth saving. Now this right here was one of the Lifelike locomotives I was hoping to get in this lot, and we do appear to have some kind of horns. I don't think they're original, but it's just your classic starter set Union Pacific F40Ph. I don't think the Union Pacific actually had any of these, but Lifelike did include these in some of its starter sets, and it's just something I've always wanted to have. My goal is to kind of collect every single F40Ph Lifelike ever made, and this is definitely one step towards that. We do have handrails intact, so that's good to see, and the rest of the drive doesn't look too bad. Somebody's polished up the wheels pretty well. Now right here I believe is one of the tri-rail locomotives, and I've always been a really big fan of this paint scheme right here, and around a year ago I was in Miami and I saw a whole bunch of signs everywhere for tri-rails, so I just thought it'd be cool to add some to the collection. This locomotive right here appears to have received some damage in the past, but overall it's not too bad. It's nice to see too it's a Walters. Originally I thought this might have been a Bachmann Spectrum locomotive, but yeah, it's even higher quality than I was hoping for, so that's great. And I think there might be an identical unit somewhere in this box. Here was another one of the locomotives I really wanted to get. It's another lifelike F40. Unfortunately, the decals on the front appear to be missing. I've never seen that before with a lifelike. It looks like the drive has been modified slightly with the Bachmann wheels. Not too sure what's going on there either, but we'll test it out anyway. And now the final locomotive in this lot, and it is the other tri-rail locomotive which I thought I had spotted. And this one actually appears to be in slightly better condition than the other one. It's another Walthers. Overall, looks like an okay model. Might need a little bit of new glue here and there, but other than that, should be good to go. So with all of these things out of the box, we know that they're kind of in mixed conditions. We'll take them over to the track, we'll see exactly what we're dealing with mechanically, and then we'll go from there in terms of what kind of repairs these things might need at some point in the future. So I've got all the locomotives all ready to go for testing here. I've just kind of loosely organized them by which ones I think are most likely and least likely to start. So we'll begin over on this side with the Red Stripe Express, and I'm really not too sure about this one. It is based off the old lifelike drives, which are so simple they usually do start, but at the same time too, someone's done such a number on this thing, it kind of makes me a little more doubtful. Let's give it some power and find out. And lo and behold, well, it did move for a second there. Wow, the Red Stripe Express lives on. Well, it kind of runs about as well as it looks. It's not the worst I've seen in terms of running quality, though, that's for sure. I'm really not sure what to do with this thing. The paint is super tacky, which is just kind of strange, because as I said, I bought this lot in 2022, which means even after sitting for a couple years, the paint still hasn't dried. I really don't know what's going on with that. It might make for a good parts unit, or maybe some sort of a weird rebuild. I don't really know. Anyways, we'll move on to the New York Central locomotive right here, and this one's not powered, but it does appear to have some kind of a light, so I guess we'll test that one out and then check the B unit after. And the light remarkably does work just fine, so that's good to see, or at least it did. Yeah, it's in there. I also noticed after unboxing the B unit that somebody seems to have just kind of cut right through the side, presumably because this frame was meant for a larger locomotive. It is a Walthers though. I feel like that gives it a decent chance at starting. Oh. Well, I think the contacts are pretty dirty. Let's give it full voltage here, see if that will get it to go. Yeah, that runs just fine. Well, it might not be pretty by any means, but at least it's got a decent drive on the inside. And moving on to the F40 cabless model, the F40B unit. I don't know what you'd call this thing. And there's power in the track and it's not going. Oh! Oh, look at that, it does run. Okay, would I call it good? Definitely not, but I still love it. I mean, this is great. The fact that it actually works is great, and in fact, you could probably just pop that truck back into place, and this thing's ready to go. This is definitely getting added to the collection. I'm not so sure about this one right here. I mean, it's a lifelike. Well, nothing so far. Oh. See if it wants to go in the other direction. Yeah. Yeah, this thing's fine. That's a mint runner right there. The smell of ozone on this one is really strong. There's definitely some stuff burning in there that shouldn't be. Well, just as the other ones, it might not be much of a looker, but I'd call that a runner. I'm pretty sure this one's gonna start right up, but sometimes looks can be deceiving. Yeah, see, it's starting to pull through. Hopefully it doesn't stall over there. Yeah, that seems to have sorted itself out pretty well. Once you get the wheels all clean, these things are good to go. Now, this next one is pretty interesting because I believe it's a proto-locomotive. They're very similar to Athearn Blue Box engines. The only problems I've seen them have quite commonly is the axles split and also sometimes some parts oxidize and make them seize up. But I feel like this one is gonna start. Let's give it some power. And I did see it move. Yeah, there we go. Definitely needs a wheel cleaning. The lights are kind of flickering and stuff, but it is moving. It's kind of making a bit of a thumping noise, which to me would indicate that one of the gears probably is cracked, but it is running, so that's good. This one's an old model power, and I think this one's just gonna probably spring to life right off the bat. These were never the highest quality locomotives, but they're usually quite reliable. Yep. Wow, this one's really rowdy. It's probably the most speed this locomotive has seen since like the 90s. I think we can safely call that one a runner. And then we got another lifelike, kind of same rules as before. Oh. Well, I'm not quite sure what the deal with this thing is. I've been trying for like 2 minutes to get it to run, and it definitely has the potential. Like, you can see the lights are flickering, and you can hear the motor trying to go. It will run for like a foot, but then it just seems to kick out again, so... Well, no, I'll be darned. There it goes. What do you think, Nerf Cat? Was I wrong about the lifelike? And now we'll move on to the Amtrak Walthers locomotive. I think that this thing, I'd almost give it like 100% chance of starting. Yeah. What do you think of the new Amtrak locomotive there, Cat? Well, I think this thing is perfectly acceptable, so we'll test out the next locomotive right here, which is one of the tri-rail engines. And it's another Walther, so I think it should be okay. We'll test it out on this side, though, that way we can get the Cat's approval right here. Oh yeah, this one started right up. It's perfect, isn't it, Cat? Whoops. What do you think, Foreman Sook? And now we'll move on to our final locomotive. It's the last tri-rail, and just as the other one did, I think it's probably going to start right up. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, overall that locomotive seems to run pretty well too. Well folks, that's going to be about it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm overall quite happy with this lot, as it actually turned out to be a pretty lucky one. It's not too common that every single locomotive, with the exception of the dummy, turns out to be a runner, so even though these might not be some of the best looking locomotives I've ever seen, mechanically they're all pretty solid. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with all of them at this point. I'm pretty confident I want to hold on to the 2 Union Pacific locomotives and the tri-rail engines. As for the rest of them, that's all to be decided. But if you have any ideas for locomotives like this, which I'm actually starting to think is supposed to be a Boston Transit Authority, please let me know in the comments, because it would be good to make use of them. Until then, I just want to thank you all so much for watching.